Good morning, class. So we will begin from where we stopped last time. So this is the beginning of lecture 4 part 1, which is a short lecture, part 1 and 2. So first what we need to do is we should ask why we need them. Let us see. Suppose we expect 10 numbers to come our way and we have to print square of every number and greet the user with good morning ABC, where ABC is a username. Now because these numbers will come at different points in program and not in a list tuple dictionary, we cannot apply for loop or while loop. We have to take them at different parts of the program. At every part of the number and username will change. How do we do it? So this is a very naive or a beginner's way of doing this. We copy paste the two lines below at all the 10 places. Every time when we copy paste, we change the number and the number that is supplied. So this is how we go about typing it. Print number asterisk asterisk 2 good morning plus username. Now this approach is not right, since while copying there is a very high chance that we will mix and match different numbers and different usernames. Apart from this, a lot of time goes in copy pasting at 10 places. Like, we are human, right? So there is definitely a very high chance, or there is a very high probability it will happen that we will commit mistake. So imagine if you had to use it at 100 places instead of 2 instructions of point. We had a calculation involving 50 lines. We are supposed to copy paste this 50 lines at 100 places without making any mistake. Don't you think life will be tough and there should be an easy way? Let's see. This is where the functions are going to come in handy. Functions take 0 or more input that can change every time. In the example above, it is the username and number that is input and changing, but the actual calculations or coding never changes. All you have to do is define the function once with all the 50 or 1000 lines at one place, and after that just that function in a single line will with changing inputs. When you define the function, you give it a name and you just type this name followed by elliptical brackets. What are elliptical bracket? The round bracket, the circular bracket. Within this bracket we put in the inputs. See the usage, very important. Name of my function in circular bracket, input 1 comma input 2 comma input 3, so on and so forth. We have been using a function all along so far. So you can think of any function that comes into your mind. As I have told you earlier, these lectures were made for students in the classroom, and I'm using the same lecture for the online medium. So don't worry about the codes of the function. All it does is make a sector of a circle, but I can appreciate that it is a complicated function that has a lot of lines. You can change the inner and outer radius, changes color, changes how wide the angle and what is the name. Please know that even if you don't understand what is the code inside, no problem. All you need to do is how to use it. Very important. I have stressed on the point, like what is in its name and was the input like. In the example below, the name of the function is draw one sector. It takes 9 arguments. Its name, number, circle centers x and y, coordinates, which are also numbers, outer and inner radius, which are also numbers, and left and right angles, which are numbers again, and finally a color, which is a string. So don't worry about this lengthy code. You don't have to try it. I am going to provide everything in the lecture, so don't worry about it. Just have a look at it at this point in time. All you have to do is just look at it. It's very lengthy, so don't worry about it, and don't get overwhelmed as well, because this will all be provided to you. Then we have so we are starting from here, line 3. So this is what is going to be the code for you. So we are going to from ipython.code.display import display comma html and import math. So we will make 4 sectors of red, green, blue and yellow. You will notice that the hard part of creating a function is done. It is very easy to use. Notice which input arguments we are changing and what is the corresponding output. Please locate where we are passing the color inside the function. Is it at the 9th location? So when you do this, don't worry about the code. You can look at it, you can type it while you're listening to this lecture, no problem, but all this will be provided to you. So I have this, so I'm just going to show it to you. See the color, it changed, right? Then you will see this. See, red, then the second one green, and then likewise you will have this third one, then this one blue, then the next one is going to be yellow. Then what we are going to do is we are going to make certain subtle changes. Now we are going to make this sector a little wide, easy. Just change the 7th and the 8th argument, going back to the main function. So what is the purpose of the function is, when you're working in a company, you're not going to write the function every single day. You're not going to write 100 lines of code every single day. So you're going to have your function defined already. All you have to do is little modification depending upon what is needed out of you or what is needed out of your company or the project that you're working in. So just change the 7th and the 8th argument. Notice the change. You will keep the red color constant, but change the arguments in next to example. So this is how it's going to be. And then we are going to change here certain coordinates. We are going to play with the numbers a little bit. Similarly here, we are going to make it a little bigger. So this is all for your understanding. So as you see, once you have done the hard work of defining a function, using it as a simple as a single line of code, life is back to being easy, isn't it? Hopefully you're convinced that functions are useful. Now that we have defined why we need functions, so let us define what are they and how to use them. So a function with the keywords def followed by its name. You can choose any name you want, but make sure you choose a short name that describes its behavior. After that, elliptical brackets are there. Inside these brackets, the inputs go. Remember, the position of input is very important. We will see this in a bit. After that, the line ends with a colon. Once you will press enter, you will notice that the typing position cursor has shifted to the right by a tab, equivalent to 4 spaces. This is not an error but a Python design. Now this is how it is. Like, I did not invent it, or somebody else who is teaching you did not invent it. This is how it is. So maintain it. Now you start typing the code that you want to do, making use of the input that went in it. At the end of the computation, if you want the function to send back a value to the main program, you can choose to use return command. Very important, very crucial. So I'm going to highlight this a little bit. So here, this return command, this is very important. Right, and now that this has to be at the end, after which no more execution is supposed to happen. So this is all that is there to a function. Once again, notice the order of the sequence. First the def keyword, then the function name, then the elliptical brackets, then inputs are written. Inputs are also called arguments in Python. Remember this always. Once you press enter, tab is automatically generated and is shifted to right. Now you start implementing the logic and all the computation. In the end, you may or may not return something back to the main program. If you don't return anything, then none is returned. Now this is also a special type in Python. So we stop here and then we start again with the next lecture. Thank you.